Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The second largest city's first daily news podcast is here to save your life if we have to. We're at the Aurora Regional Fire Museum. I know you see it. Well, you don't see it yet, actually.
I was wondering what you're doing. Did something change? I'm not aware.
But actually, if you're looking at the drone, you can see it. Actually, if you woke, right, you might be able to pinpoint where it's at, the location of Broadway and New York Street. Anyway, we are here with Mr. Brian Failing. Round of applause for our brother from another life. All right. Now we have some news and updates for you before we get into our interview. So without delay, let's hit it.
All right, lots going on. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, there's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony at FlexRay, a leading X-ray inspection and recovery service for the food industry, and they're newly located in Aurora. Aaron B. Guthrie, Director of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Mayor Richard C. Irvin, Brian Gay, President and CEO of Invest Aurora, and Randy Jesberg, CEO of FlexRay, will be available to answer media questions following the ribbon cutting ceremony. Investments in a new 48,000 square foot cutting edge facility will support an array of customers served by the company, including the hospitality industry, all while maintaining COVID-19 protocol. FlexRay plans to hire 150 workers from the community. So that's good news.
That is great news. That's great.
Luigi's Pizza will be hosting trick-or-treating on October 31st from 4 to 6 p.m. Bring out the kids. Luigi's is located at 732 Prairie Street in Aurora. The public is invited and parking and admission is free. Goodie bags with treats, coupons, and discounts will also be handed out. First Fridays is on November 6th. It's going to be something different as everyone in the event is complete with virtual, crowd-free, and small in-person events to celebrate Day of the Dead. Shops along Broadway will display ofrendas or altars outside of their businesses. Look for Sugar Skull City artwork and more. Full details can be found at auroradowntown.org or the Aurora Downtown Facebook page. Something else coming up for lots of holiday stuff going on. Lots of stuff. $1. You got a dollar?
Got a dollar.
You got a dollar.
Holla for a dollar.
Everybody's got a dollar. $1 holiday photos at curated displays will be offered at a few downtown locations on November 21st, November 28th, and December 5th.
Word up.
Professional photographers will socially distance and wear masks, and photos are going to be on a first-come, first-served basis. And you'll be able to download those photos. You'll go there, pay your dollar, get a photo. You can download the photo and then send it out as your little Christmas card. So no excuses. Again, you can find out more information on that on the Aurora Downtown website. And then lastly, the Cocoa Crawl. Due to COVID-19, the Cocoa Crawl is going to be a little different. It's not going to be like it was last year. Everybody crowding into a small place.
Yeah,
so
literally.
it was
you
fun
got the
though.
kids next to you and shit. Excuse me.
It's cold, but everybody gets cocoa. It's a nice way to just kind of get out and stop around and hop around at night. So the 2020 Cocoa Crawl mugs will be sold. Jeez, man. Will be sold starting on November 6th, along with hot cocoa recipe cards and more at select downtown businesses. So yes, looking forward to that one. It's one of my favorite days of the year.
It's a nice thing. Yeah,
I do
right,
like it.
yeah.
Santa usually comes out. He's out there walking around. So all good.
If you bring your marshmallows too, you bring the big ones.
Yes.
Put like 2 of those in a little cellophane or something like that, and bam, just dump those in there. Yep, be that dude on the bus who brought his own marshmallows.
And those mugs were a hot commodity last year. Remember, we were trying to track them down. So
Nice.
Make sure you jump on that. So, and now the weather.
You got no sports?
Well, the Bears lost, so we have no sports. They lost to the Rams 24-10.
Super fan.
Christine went to bed about halftime. So
That's awesome. All right. So the current temperature is 34 degrees. The high will be 41 degrees today and should be reached by 3 p.m. It's cold and gloomy out there, y'all. It's a cold and gloomy day. So tomorrow looks to be 55, I believe, and sunny. So that should be a lot nicer than it is today. But another, today is one of those chamomile, Earl Grey tea, cuddle up with your blanket, Columbo, something like that for you out there. Yesterday, the city of Aurora had a street naming ceremony for Mr. George Rayford, pastor of the New Community Baptist Church. Mr. Rayford also prepares to celebrate his 75th birthday. We wish him the very best. That church is at the corner of New York Street and Smith Street, right across from the Dunkin' Donuts right there. Serendipity Resale Shop has moved to Aurora from downtown Naperville.
I'm very excited about that.
Oh, you know about it?
Yes, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it used to be it's on
Next to the Two Brothers and the candy store.
across from the
Neighbor Nuts and
Lululemon
Sweets.
and the Jimmy John's. It was right there on
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
No.
Is that Jefferson?
Yeah, Jefferson.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Jefferson.
it was right
You
there.
go down
Jefferson.
Lumo
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jefferson. Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay.
we got him.
Right. Well, they moved from downtown Naperville, after 50 years. Located in the Aurora Marketplace Strip Mall at Route 59 and 75th Street. They reopen on the 16th of next month with hours of 10 to 5. Shout out Serendipity. Now, all we really need, Lou Malnati's, come from Jefferson, bam, get right down here, woo, get a little patio out here, that'd be great. That would be great. The next round of the Change Initiative sessions are this Thursday, the 29th, at Impact Church, 4054 Fox Valley Center, and Thursday the 5th at Society 57, 100 South River Street in Aurora. Each 90-minute listening session will begin at 6 p.m. with Mayor Richard Urban.
Is this place haunted?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my goodness.
Then my heart just jumped out.
All the ghosts of the fire museums are
Right,
coming
seriously.
out. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Man,
Who knew?
that was spooky. I just
Now,
heard
it
it.
does to the other ones. We're not.
Oh my goodness. Each 90-minute listening session will begin at 6 p.m. with Mayor Richard Urban, Aurora Police Chief Kristen Zeman, and Deputy Chief Keith Cross and other city officials. The session, starting back on October 6th, 15th, until now, have been conducted with full Spanish translations. For more information and to register, you can go to www.auroratechil.org/change. And remember, attack is just a Navy term for a dash. And after that, mitigation is in full effect.
Yes.
Bars, restaurants, the casino, for all you gamblers, you got to be out of there by 11 o'clock p.m. There is only availability to eat outside with reduced capacity up to 25% of the bar or the restaurant can be used, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong?
No indoor dining.
Okay.
No under up to 20.
So that means stay the
Yeah.
hell
people
home.
for private.
I thought it was a
gatherings.
percentage or something.
25% capacity, up to 25 people, but no indoor dining.
Ah, gotcha. So yeah, you may as well just stay home. You may as well just stay
Or come
home.
visit the fire museum.
Or visit the fire museum, right.
Carry out.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Order
Carry out,
carry-outs.
fire museum, there's your whole day right there.
And I think Gillerson's has some new meal kits they're launching this week. You know,
They got
take
this-
home meals.
Yeah.
So like they have every day like the burgers and mac and cheese, and then they have a daily special. So today's Paco's Tacos, tomorrow's the meatloaf. Looking forward to that. It's like $15 for a meal for two. Comes with the meatloaf. You take it home and cook it. Sweet potato and veggies, or $28 for 4 servings.
Because they introduced like the $7 daily joints, right? Daily meals or
I
something.
don't know if they're still doing those. Those were
Okay,
for
those were
lunches.
good.
Those
Yeah,
were lunch
yeah,
and
but you
now.
can't- Fuck. It's a family show. Forget my language, y'all.
It is.
Those are good meals, though. So, without further ado, we will get into our interview now with our brother, Mr. Phelan. What's happening? What's
Not
happening?
much. Thanks for having us on, and thanks for coming down to the museum.
No doubt. Yep. This is my fourth time coming to the museum, and each time it's been fun. Each time it's been real cool. Yep.
I stopped counting after like the first week.
Especially since you got that job here, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're here to learn a lot about the museum and learn about who you are.
Yeah.
And so we'll take it away.
Yeah. Well, so my name's Brian Failing. I'm the executive director here. In March, it'll be my 5th year anniversary here. Or 5-year anniversary. So I've been here 5 years. And we're in Aurora's 1894 firehouse. Served the city from 1894 to the fall of 1980. Sat empty for a few years, and then our nonprofit came around and got the building back up into its grand appearance from the 1890s and opened the museum.
Nice. And we're going to talk more about that, about the history of the museum and all that. But
Yeah.
a little bit about you. Where were you born? Where are you from?
So I was born and raised in Lisle.
Okay.
Went to Naperville North, North Central for undergrad, history and urban studies, and then went to Eastern Illinois and did my master's in historical administration, so nonprofit museum management.
What made you want to study historical studies? That's something really unique.
When I was in undergrad, or in high school actually, I took an urban history class, and that really got me interested in Chicago history and local history. Always kind of had an interest in it, and when I was looking for college, where to go, and I was between a few schools and landed on North Central in Naperville. I wanted to originally do secondary education in history, be a high school teacher, and one of the professors there was Ann Durkin Keating, and so she was ended up being my advisor in my time at North Central, and I also had a museum job during that time, and so I was the curator of a museum the whole time I was in undergrad, and then when I went to grad school, kind of did some in-between stuff at museums and landed this job afterwards.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Learn something new about
I know.
that. Growing up, what impact did your mom have on your life?
Oh, you're just throwing a wrench. Just like, curiosity and doing things. Like we'd always, when I was younger, go to museums or the zoo, out to eat. We always, like to go out shopping, go to thrift stores and Goodwill antique stores and stuff like that.
What's one lesson that she's kind of carried over? You're kind of taking with and going with that.
Just like the importance of family.
Yeah, just keeping that in check with it.
Yeah.
Good.
What benefit does a fire department serve to a community?
So, it just goes back to, first and foremost, the reason that, volunteer fire departments were started, and this idea that, to protect the community and to protect businesses and property. So, protecting people's businesses, people's homes, making sure they don't burn down. Now it's a lot more than that. Now it's also, this idea of public safety, and so fire safety, fire prevention, teaching children and families all about fire as well.
I'll say. But the spirit of men getting together in a community and banding together and creating the fire brigade and that's an old institution in American
It goes
life.
back to colonial America, Benjamin Franklin creating the first fire companies.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And then evolving from there, it really just changed and got better with technology, right? So let's talk about some of the advents in technology when it came to, being used by fire departments and those kind of men.
So, in the 1800s, we started with or even the 1700s, bucket brigades. They didn't have fire trucks and fire engines like you see today. And then, the 1800s come along, you have, hose carts, and you'd either go to a hydrant, early precursor to modern hydrant, or like a water source like the river. Then like the 1850s come along, and you have things like a hand pumper like we have on display here. And that kind of took some of the work away from the firefighters, but they were still needed to operate the apparatus to pump the water, and then you get things that were pulled by horses instead of by people, and kind of mechanizing that process even further. And in the early 1900s, you get the first motorized fire apparatus.
What was the bucket brigade?
So quite literally what it sounds like, every home, I want to say it was for every chimney you had to have 2 leather buckets in your house. And so if the church bells went off or someone went down the street ringing the bell shouting that there was a fire, you'd all come out with your buckets and you'd form a line between the fire and the water source and pass the buckets back and forth.
So even back then it was all about community and
Yeah,
saving each other and helping each other out.
definitely.
What's some of the earliest recorded fires in Aurora or Illinois? Do you have any history about that, like some of the milestones that took place in Aurora or Illinois?
Yeah, so one of the biggest ones, I would, turn to would be, going all the way back to the 1870s. So 1871, the Great Chicago Fire. So we just passed the 149th anniversary, the beginning of October. That ravished the city.
Was it really a cow that did it?
No, it was not the cow. Think what you may, but I highly doubt that it was the cow. They did exonerate Mrs. O'Leary and her cow, but that took out 3 square miles of the city of Chicago. But that really paved the way then for changes in fire codes and building types and the way we look at cities. So.
And there were Aurora firefighters, or they're probably volunteer back then.
They were volunteer firefighters, and we had
or not contributed to the fire, but they,
Yeah.
they helped out, assisted.
Yeah, we sent about 75 firefighters into Chicago, and they were there for a couple of days, watch at the lakefront, making sure the fire didn't keep burning north.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's recorded history of that? Do we have that? Is that here?
You have to come to the museum and find out. Go take the tour.
Oh, okay. You know what?
And it's in the Aurora Beacon that they went. And,
Okay.
And to my knowledge, also too, like when they had the pumper that went down, it went down on the BNSF. Railroad took it down.
Really? Why?
Because just with the distance between here and Chicago, it would have taken them substantially longer to pull it by horse to the city than take it by a train.
Oh, I did not know that.
What year was this building created and erected? When did it open?
1894.
1894. What was Aurora then?
It was a lot smaller. So like if we're just looking at like the fire department, 1890s, we had either 3 or 4 stations at the time. This being one of them, where Branch Gardens is now is another station, and then there were a couple other throughout downtown.
Okay, but the city of Aurora.
The city was really still, it was branching out from around this area. The railroad was still here. A lot of the factories were up and down the river. There were a lot of bars in this area where the museum is now. Kind of like from here to the railroad tracks from New York to Spring, there's like 40 or 50 bars in this little area.
Bars, heavy
Factories.
industry, factory, volunteer fire brigades. Well,
Fire
the
department.
erecting of a fire department. Yeah,
Yeah, the fire department goes back to the 1850s.
right.
And so this is actually the second fire station on this property. Right before this building was built, there was a smaller wooden structure, and the police and fire departments were right next door to each other here.
It's a hard scrabble lifestyle. Aurora's come a long way. Now we got boutiques and shops, so you can get gourmet coffee, get a scone with the blueberries bursting, I think that one of the things that draws me to this place, I'd like to know what other people, what the feedback has been, is that you can actually touch items. I'm gonna stop talking to this. That's twice now.
Then he's come through and
I think it's one of the former fire chiefs,
the ghost of the chief.
Lloyd Gramley, or it could be like a little girl, Harriet, maybe.
Oh, jeez. Harriet, who never
Can we turn them off so we can continue this?
But this is great because they do have it set up, so you can see the history from like the 1850s and go through and walk through. There's different visuals, everything. You see the styluses out there that you can tap on it, so you don't have to touch the screens anymore.
The
and you
time
can
was
walk through the history with it.
Or it'll just go off again like that, you know?
The time is now 8:32 a.m. and the sound you heard was the voice of a dead man speaking. That was very spooky. Halloween's coming up. Halloween is coming up. All right. If it does this the third time in this interview,
It probably will. It'll be the 1920s next.
who's Harriet?
So over the last,
no.
so we gotta go back a while. So, you know, we've done some paranormal investigations here at the museum, and we've done some programs the last few years. We didn't do them this year just with COVID and that, but so my previous museum assistant, Kayla Wagner, she started off as an intern. Her first day as an intern, the museum was closed. We're upstairs. I'm showing her around the museum, showing her the collection, and we hear like this little girl laugh, like this distinct laugh. And so we both leave what we're doing. We walk through the whole building, the whole perimeter of the building, nothing. So that's June. Fast forward like 4 months, October. One of the ideas she had was that we should do paranormal investigations here at the museum. One of our former board members, Ashley, had actually done something with the same group at Tinker Swiss Cottage in Rockford. And so we had him out here and did a program, and on the voice box that night we heard a little girl laugh, and it was the same voice.
This is not in the brochure.
So yeah, we don't promote it or really advertise it, but staff have had things happen at times that we can't explain, and things like that. Heard footsteps, felt like doors closed, felt like someone was there, but never really, it's one of those. We're not saying it is, but we're not saying it isn't. So we leave that up.
Did you guys come up with the name Harriet, or was there a story of a girl named Harriet in this area who fell between the train tracks?
So we don't know exactly, but we do know we did get the name Harriet multiple occasions, and we do have some stories and some things that lined up about little girls that might have lost their lives and stuff like that. We don't know for a fact if they were named Harriet or not, but
right.
It's come up on the voice box and a few other
that is interesting
things
history.
we've done.
I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
This is not okay.
Yeah.
But a great time to come visit the museum.
I know, right?
Wow. You can learn all about like the paranormal.
What is this that we are sitting behind?
So we're sitting behind one of the 5 apparatus that we have on display. This is the 1948 American LaFrance engine from Batavia. So being a regional museum, it's one of the pieces we do have that's more representative of the region. But this piece also does have a tie back to Aurora and even this building. So there's a fire kind of where the parking lot is for the casino now, behind Dillerson's there. And it was Easter 1967. Old cotton mill caught fire, burned down. We had the same model engine. It was parked a little too close to the building, and a power line fell on it and engulfed the vehicle. No one was injured, but took out the vehicle. 1. 2, when we responded to that fire and were there, this piece of equipment did come down to Batavia and provided relief to the city of Aurora in this building. So it's kind of fitting that it's come home here to be on display. Still owned by the fire department in the city of Batavia, but it's been down here at least the last decade. Because
the Aurora Regional Fire Museum, so what other companies do you represent?
So in terms of looking at what we have on display, so the steamer that we have from the early 1900s, that is from Chicago. The 1918 engine we have is from LaSalle. And so that's actually one of the first 2 motorized apparatus that LaSalle, Illinois purchased. And it's also only like a dozen serial numbers away from the 1918 one we had here in Aurora. And then, so those are kind of the ones that we have represented in apparatus, and we're gradually trying to add to our collection to be more inclusive of the region.
So how many other museums are there in the area?
So, I mean, I believe we're the only one in the local area that has a professional museum staff. Most of the other ones are, smaller operations or run more by volunteers. It doesn't change the quality of them, just, it's a matter of fact. And so up in Elgin, they have an old fire barn that is a museum as well. Chicago has a museum. And there's some other ones throughout the state, but those are the two other larger ones in Illinois.
What was your first job?
First museum job or first job period?
First job.
So my first job was I had a seasonal position at Honey Baked Ham. So
What
filling
year
the
was that?
cooler. Let's see. When did I turn 16? Like it'd be like 2008.
Honey baked ham.
Yep.
From honey baked ham to the fire museum.
Yep. Yeah, filled the shelves and
All of that.
yep.
How many regional fire museums are in Illinois?
So technically speaking, we're the only regional museum.
Okay.
I mean, there is also a state museum and stuff like that, but
Have you
if
been
we're
to the State Museum?
no, I've not.
Where is it at?
Down in Springfield.
Okay. I'm gonna go down there to that museum.
Go check it out.
I am.
And you guys do a lot of efforts, or a lot of your fundraising activities that you do are not only to preserve some of the equipment, but do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So a lot of our, all of our fundraisers and all the money we raise really goes back into keeping up the exhibits, keeping up the apparatus you see. One of our goals in the future is, and we started raising money for this with our holiday ornament sales this year, is we have several apparatus that are stored off-site. So we have 4 stored off-site, only one of them runs. And so one of them off-site is our 1942 American LaFrance engine. Served the city of Aurora out of this building, and we really want to see that one restored and hopefully brought back on display and be able to take it to community events and programs.
Parades, back when we had parades.
Yep.
That's great.
So-
So, and you mentioned the holiday ornaments.
Mhm.
So what's that?
So I actually got one here. We have, it's our 1942, like I said, American LaFrance engine. So it's a 3D ornament creation of the vehicle. They are $20 each,
Mhm.
2 for $35, and $2 from every ornament sold goes into the restoration fund. So far we sold about 170 ornaments, I believe.
Wow.
And so we still got some left, so it's not too late to get them. And we have them available if you go on our Facebook or from our website. You can place your order for them for pickup, or we do ship them. This year we've shipped about 40 packages across the U.S., everywhere from here in Aurora out to Montana, Rhode Island, Florida, Wisconsin, California. We send them across the country.
Because you do that every year. So now the third, fourth year?
This is now the 3rd ornament that we've done.
Okay.
We have some other ones we get periodically, but this is the 3rd kind of exclusive one we've done. So the first one was this building. We did that 3 years ago. And then last year we did Station 3 where Branch Gardens is.
Okay.
Building's actually older than this building by about 8 years. And then this year we did the 1942. I think next year we will continue on the apparatus trend, and we will either do our 1921 Stutz, which is on display that we use in parades, since it'll be the 100th anniversary of the vehicle, or we'll do our 1964 ladder truck.
Cool.
We've got the fire department right next door. Do you guys ever do any joint events, ventures, or kind of initiatives like that?
So every year in October we do an event called Community Hero Day. And so the last few years they've helped us out and brought vehicles over. This year, actually every year, the fire cadets and fire explorers will come volunteer. This year we're really fortunate. They brought out a reserve engine just since we had to limit how many people were present, because normally we have them just pull out everything from Central onto the apron and people could walk up and interact. But what we ended up doing this year is they brought a reserve engine, and the cadets actually walked around, and the explorers and interacted with visitors and kind of showed them what some of the equipment and tools on the vehicle was. So we do that every year. We always, it's a two-way street. We support each other. So whether it's a promotion ceremony or we have a new exhibit opening, we support the fire department, and the fire department supports us.
Now you've been here 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Take us back to getting the job, the early days, that first day, that first week, getting your legs under you. What was that like?
It was a lot. I mean, when I started, I was just, so actually I was offered the job as I was going down to Eastern to take my oral examination for my master's degree. So when I started, I was basically less than 2 months away from walking across the stage to get my master's. And so, really coming into, any position, but especially coming into this position where I was taking over for individuals that had been in the job for 10, 15, even 20 years, and being part of the organization, it really was, a big role to fill. And also too, just being so young and first time being an executive director and coming into Aurora, where you have people like Arlene who have been around Aurora and been in charge of SciTech for a number of years. John Jaros, Historical Society, had been around for 20, 25 years. Just coming into the scene and just, it took some time to get involved, but, I really, made it my point to, make myself and make the museum more involved in the community. That's our involvement with Aurora downtown, being involved in everything from First Fridays to, the Art Ramble and Ukulele Fest, anything and everything we could be a part of, we have been a part of for the most part. So just being involved in the community, being involved in the chamber. At the end of that year, I was elected to the board of directors for Aurora downtown. I now serve on a committee with Invest Aurora, so it was just, very much, a conscious effort to make the museum a bigger part of the community, because we've been here for so long, not only the museum, but this building.
A friend said that they like your boots.
Oh, thank you.
They shining, right? Because like, ding, damn. Now you're from Lyle.
Mm-hmm.
You're from Lyle, but you're in Aurora now.
Mm-hmm.
You live in Aurora.
Live in Plainfield.
You live in Plainfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Work in Aurora.
Yep. Work in Aurora.
What do you like about Aurora? What do you like the most about it?
Frankly, it kind of goes back to one of the things that drew me to this job was, the building. If you look at, downtown Aurora, just all of the uniqueness and architecture, from having a Carnegie Library to, having the 1930s post office, to having this building, the GAR Hall, and then just looking up.
Shout out to the GAR, Eric Pry.
Looking at all of the buildings and the wealth of architecture that is down here is just incredible. And the roundhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. This is a very unique building too.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it from the outside, it's visually appealing. When you stand directly across the street in front of the now painted windows with the Sugar Skull City and all that, if you look at this building, especially with the snow,
mm-hmm.
this building, anybody watching, this building when it snows and has the snow packed on those places where snow can't easily fall off of, is very nice. So it's really cool. What is this that we have in front of us?
So this is a 1850s button hand pumper.
Now people have to come see this because you can't see this right now.
It's very similar to what we would have used here in Aurora. It's not from Aurora, but it's representative of what we did have and operate out of this building.
What was the shift like from the bucket brigade to the next level of effective firefighting? What was that next level after the bucket brigade?
So after bucket brigades, it kind of goes hand in hand. We had hand pumpers like this, and we also had hose carts. So you kind of see that here in Aurora. East and West Aurora had different ways in which they fought fires, and so we're sitting here in the Fire Museum on the east side, We got, used our funds for firefighting to purchase equipment such as this, but on the west side, they installed a holly hose system. So basically, they were pressurized pumps similar to the modern day fire hydrant that took water from the river and took it throughout town. So they would just need a hose cart, hose, and a nozzle. They would connect to these pumps and put out fires.
Aurora was fighting fires separately.
Yeah, so East and West Aurora, they had different views on how they wanted to spend the money.
Amazing. Different views on how to fight fires. Amazing. Thank God we got together, right?
Yep.
Shout out to McCarty. This building, well, first, before we get to that next part, who's your staff? Let's shout out the staff members.
So it's 1.5 of us. So myself and then Rachel Olson's our museum assistant. She's been with us just over a year.
Okay.
And then we have a board of directors of up to 15 individuals as well.
Nice. Very cool. And you do things, you mentioned you do things with Invest Aurora as well?
Yeah, I'm on the business retention committee with Invest Aurora.
Very cool. Very cool. So what's coming next with the Fire Museum?
So actually this weekend we have our annual fundraiser. It's called Sound the Alarm. So we're going to sound the alarm. And so probably one of the kiosks will go off now. But Sound the Alarm fundraiser. We're doing it at Oswego Brewing in downtown Oswego, which we really wanted to be able to do the fundraiser again here in Aurora. We did it at Two Brothers, but unfortunately due to COVID, Two Brothers is not doing any carry out, any outdoor dining and stuff like that. So
quite sad.
We'll be down at Oswego Brewing. We got for sure 4 restaurants confirmed entering their chili. Tickets are $35. We only have about 20 left. But with your ticket, you get to sample the chilies. You get a cookie from Treadwell Coffee. Shout out to Treadwell. Coffee this morning. I already finished mine. I have to go get another one. And then you get a 1 beer ticket. So Oswego Brewing is located in Oswego's Old Firehouse. And so they have a beer called Old Firehouse. It's a cream ale. So you get one of those. And then we have a live DJ. And then we'll also have a variety of raffle items that you can enter to win. Some cool stuff we have is we have some artwork by artist Chris Hodge. He's done a lot of work for us. He did a drawing of a fire engine in our building, steampunk style, so we have one of those. We have a 16 by 20 picture of this building that was done by a Canadian photographer, Dan Sun. So we have one of those, and it's signed by him. So we got that. We got 1 hour in the gun range with King County Sheriff. We got a 4 to 6 hour ride along with the King County deputy. And so we'll have raffle tickets at the event, so you can get those. There'll be 12 for 10, 20 for 5 for 10, 12 for 20, or 30 for 40. So come on out and you can get your raffle tickets and enter to win a lot of great prizes. We also have a lot of other baskets we're putting together. We have a make your own old fashioned basket, Tito's basket, a wine basket, a couple beer baskets, Oswego Brewing basket, Miskatonic Brewing. So we probably have between 2 dozen and 3 dozen different raffle items that you'll be able to enter to win. So.
Are you able to say what restaurants are participating so far?
So far we have Spartan House, O'Malley's, and then Tavern on Broadway and Rulin's. Still trying to nail down a couple more, but we got for sure 4 entering the competition.
That's great because everything is so crazy with them now. I'm sure they need to focus on some other things with them. Indoor dining.
Or outdoor dining.
Outdoor dining,
carry out.
indoor carry out.
What's the oldest artifact in our museum?
We have a lot of old stuff. It's not necessarily the oldest, but we have some ballot boxes that were used by the fire department to vote in new members to the volunteer department from the 1850s to 70s.
Very cool.
So you
Very
had to get
cool.
voted in as a
Mhm.
volunteer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone would have to, vote on whether or not they wanted you, and it had to be a unanimous vote.
Really?
So.
Okay.
Nice.
What's your favorite?
Vote.
Oh, my favorite. So I have a couple favorite. One of my favorites is we have a ventriloquist dummy.
Oh.
He's on Instagram. He
Yes.
has his own handle, Smokey Burns. He's a ventriloquist dummy that was used in the 1940s by the Aurora Fire Department to teach elementary school children about fire safety. So the firefighters would take him out on stage, sit him out there, and then be behind the stage doing a script with the firefighters. By far my favorite artifact. Took me 3 years to get him on display, but he is now in a display case, little plexiglass box for him. He's permanently affixed to a stool, so he's not going anywhere.
Okay. Because I almost knocked him over once, I
Yeah.
remember. I know you're going to find that hard to believe.
Yeah, so we got him, and then some of my other favorites. We have there was a photographer here in Aurora by the name of Casimir Arcott. Arcott came to Aurora after he was displaced from Chicago during the Great Chicago Fire, and he was a sculptor, a painter. He did drawings, he did photography, and he had a studio down here in Aurora. So a lot of Aurorans did have their photograph taken by him. But he was a very prolific artist, in my opinion, and so we have 2 pieces of his on display. We have they're both from the 1890s. We have a life-size portrait of our first fire chief that was commissioned by the firefighters for his 10th wedding anniversary. So that's of Chief Adam Schoberlein. And then we have another piece that shows our 1893 engine and ladder truck with 2 horses in front of a fire station. We don't believe it's Aurora, but it's very reminiscent of the type of architecture that is here in Aurora. And I just found out that that might be a real backdrop, but regardless, the fire apparatus and some of the firefighters in it are accurate. It's a really cool piece. It's about 2 by 3 feet. We had it professionally preserved and conserved a few years back to fix some problems with it. It was basically done on paper and attached to canvas, and over 100 plus years it kind of deteriorated. So we got that on display now, and that's one of my other favorite pieces. So I'd say those 3 are some of my favorite pieces, and they're all on display now.
Who made up the original stock of firemen in this area? Were they immigrants? What kind of people were they?
So I haven't done much research into the backgrounds of some of the firefighters, but a lot of those that did come to Aurora, were immigrants, because a lot of the immigrants came in because of the factories. A lot worked for the railroad, a lot of the other industry that was here and located along the Fox River. And so it was a lot of immigrants. Just thinking about some of the names, Schoberlein, German. So a lot of European immigrants came out and were a part of the fire department. But like I said, I haven't looked at the lineage of a lot of the early firefighters to really understand their backgrounds.
Interesting.
And now during COVID times, what can people come out and do and experience at the museum?
So we removed a lot of the hands-on components. So throughout our permanent exhibit down here, there were things that especially children could pick up, touch, interact with, and we had a hands-on children's room upstairs. But our first exhibit is still completely open. Upstairs we have a Aurora room with a timeline exhibit with a history of the fire department and an art exhibit currently. We're also opening a new exhibit from the National EMS Museum in a partnership we've had with them for the last couple of years. We have an education room as well that has an exhibit, and we're working on redoing that as well. Unfortunately, though, our children's room is closed right now, but hopefully at some point next year we'll be able to reopen that.
And you have memberships. You can become a member
Yeah.
at the museum.
Yeah, so we have a variety of levels of membership, everything from an individual on up to a business. But family membership is $40 for the year. Otherwise, admission to the museum is $5 a person. So if you're a family of 4 and you plan on coming down to the museum a couple times this year, more than pays for itself. And you do get a discount in the museum store.
Gift shop. Nice.
The time is now 8:57 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast, and we are here with Brian Failing of the Aurora Regional Fire Museum. And the sound that you hear in the background is miscellaneous vehicles traversing the wet streets of Broadway in downtown Aurora. So, anything that we forgot?
Social media. Where can people find you?
Yeah.
So we are on Facebook,
The
Twitter,
page is great.
Instagram. Shout out to Rachel. Rachel's in charge of the majority of social media for us. Smokey Burns has an Instagram as well, and then Rachel just started a TikTok last week.
Oh, okay.
Nice. All
So
right.
you guys do a lot. It's a combination of just different history and different events and lots of good info on there.
Yes,
Follow.
yeah, definitely. And like I said, we have our fundraiser this weekend, so if you're interested in that, make sure you get your tickets. We only have about 20 left. And then if you're looking for a holiday gift, come on down to our museum store. Like I said, we have the ornaments, $20 each, 2 for $35. We have great coffee mugs. We have some new coffee mugs that should be in a couple weeks with the fire department logo on them as well. Those would be $12. And we have an exclusive candle as well.
Very nice. I do have
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Very
Be safe.
cool.
Yep.
So the show ends on a positive note. What is your message to the people of Aurora today, on this Tuesday?
Just with everything going on in our community right now with COVID, and just everything going on in our world, just really, take time to, be there for your family, be there for your community, support local, whether that's, your local restaurants, your local stores, or your local museums. We're still here, and we're still a part of the community, and we want to be a part of this community when this is all over. So, be safe, be responsible, but, know that when you want to visit us, we're here.
That's awesome. Good message. Good message. So, this has been a great interview and a great experience to be here at the Aurora Regional Fire Museum with Mr. Brian Failing. Don't forget that it is still Domestic Violence and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so if you can, donate your time or volunteer time or items or help or even kind words to great organizations to do so with are Healing to Healthy by our friends Susan May Romano and Amy Downing, and also Mutual Ground. Other than that, check out all the calendar events that the Aurora Regional Fire Museum has. Shout out to Invest Aurora and Aurora Downtown. And on behalf of Good Morning Aurora, thank you to all of our followers, all of our listeners, all of our subscribers. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where all the, see that? That's the heat coming soon. And hope